All right, guys, welcome to Just Driven, and in today's video we're going to bring you guys up to speed on the Bite the Bullet series. It's been a while since we've done an update on the Bite the Bullet series. Today we're going to kind of get into that with you guys and share with you where we're at and all the things that we've done to both these cars. So if you guys haven't seen the movie, and some of you guys may be a little young, but just know that in 1968 a movie came out called Bullitt. It was a Steve McQueen movie and it was phenomenal. It was one of the best car chases of all time. If you haven't watched that movie, I would highly encourage you to check it out. You're going to see some really amazing driving. Back in those days, they didn't have CG. They didn't have all the modern stuff available to them that we have today. So they literally had to rub fenders and just destroy these two cars in the making of this film. And if you really want to see an exciting chase, check that movie out. Before I get into all of that, sitting next to these two cars is this absolutely rare 1970 Malibu. This is a rare car in the sense that it is a factory numbers matching 402, 4-speed Muncie, no AC, no power steering. We acquired this car from an avid Chevelle collector. The car is worthy of restoration. It's never been crashed. It was missing its moldings. It's got some SS wheels on it. We're going to put Steelies and dog dish caps back on it. But let's get back to the Bite the Bullet cars. I mentioned earlier that we took the 68 Charger and we commissioned another shop to do all of the prep work for paint. So it has been completed. Joe has come in and done a final blocking on it, and it's pretty much ready for paint. The only challenge we ran into is when we acquired this car, we just peeled back the trunk liner to reveal that the floors looked relatively okay. We had to do a couple little repairs to the bottom of the fenders and the bottom of the quarters, but that was it. The rest of the car looked amazing, and of course the fuel tank was in it, and so we weren't in a position to really look at the trunk condition, the trunk floor condition. And now that it was getting ready to move over to the paint shop to get its final paint put on it, we finally peeled back the liner and realized that the trunk floor was so thin. It was savable, but not to the level that I was going to live with. So as you can see back here, we acquired a new floor for it, and the reason why it's sitting here now is we are getting ready to cut this floor out in its entirety, and we're going to weld in a brand new floor. It's just the right way to do it. This car is such a nice, solid car to begin with. It would be a shame to kind of Mickey this floor in place. So with all that being said, there's just going to be a little delay. Dunk's going to go to town on all the metal work on this, and we're going to knock this out in the next few days, and then it'll be ready for moving over to the paint shop probably next week. I would say probably in the next 7 days this car will be in black paint. So I'm really excited about that. As you could see, the engine in a previous video, we kind of went into depth on the Edelbrock fuel injection system. It is running a 440. It turns out this is not an original 440 car. It was a small block car, but we decided to put the 440 in it. It's running a 6-speed Tremec manual transmission in it. We're gonna relatively keep it stock in terms of suspension componentry. You know, we're probably gonna put spacers on it, push the wheels out a little bit, and this car is gonna retain its original hubcaps. It's gonna retain its original black vinyl top. All the chrome's gonna go back on it. The idea is we want it to replicate the movie car, and in doing that, hubcaps have to stay on it. If it were me, I'd probably want to put dog dish caps on it. But again, since we're making it look like the movie car, full hubcaps it is. All right, so moving over to the Mustang, as you can see, we have made extensive progress on this car. And although this car didn't need a lot, we did have to actually weld in a rear body panel. It did need a rear trunk deck lid, which we've installed, new rear valance. The lines are perfect. The 67-68 spine is absolutely straight. This is such an important part of the 68 Mustang Fastback, is that little spine that goes all the way up the deck lid and all the way up to the roof, and it gets lost in the front section of the roof. So this car is going to be in the dark metallic green that was seen in the movie. We have acquired all of the front sheet metal, and Dunk did an amazing job retrofitting the front subframe assembly on this car. Since this car is going to be running a Coyote motor with a 6-speed, in doing a Coyote motor and transmission, we decided that we were going to remove the strut towers and do the conversion to a Mustang 2 style subframe assembly. Of course, you know, that also has the motor mounts that the Coyote motor needed to fit in the car. Dunk just did an amazing job on all the metal work in here. It was an extensive amount of work that was required to make this small bodied Mustang fit such a large, wide motor. You know, the Coyote motor looks like a big block because the heads are so big. New radiator support assembly, new inner aprons. And of course, we were able to transfer over the VIN number and the VIN stamping so it retains the correct VIN numbers in the appropriate places. So the coilover suspension on the front is just sitting low right now. Of course, that's fully adjustable. Alex and I are having conversations about what kind of rear differential we're going to run. Lots of ideas to go over in completing the rear suspension portion of this, but in terms of body work, what's going to happen next is we're going to start perfecting the body. Joe's going to take the time that's been spent on the Charger and focus onto the Mustang to complete it. We're going to have to take the new sheet metal that we acquired for the front end. Although it's better quality sheet metal, it still requires work to massage it to make it look like it belongs on the car. You know, when these cars were being made back in 1968, you know, mid 64 and a half, and then the transition body from 67 to 68, they were spitting these cars out of the factory so fast that the body alignment wasn't great. These headlight bezels weren't ever perfect. It's going to take a lot of massaging these pieces. You know, the fitment is going to be much better than it ever looked like when it came out of the factory when we're done with it. I think the next step is going to be pre-fitting the engine and drivetrain in, making all of the modifications to the chassis to accommodate the engine and transmission, get it fit in the car, probably pre-fit the radiator. We are going to run air conditioning on this car. Alex and I talked in the past about possibly doing power windows since it's just 2 roll-up windows in the front. And then from there, we're going to retrofit the interior. It's going to be a relatively stock interior, although we always put recliners in it. So, you know, our cheat seat, as I call it, is a Mazda RX-8 frame. We love how that seat contours and the bolstering that those seats provide. Of course, we have to make modifications to the top half of the seat to look more like a Mustang seat. We've used those seats. They're readily available. They're relatively inexpensive, and our upholstery guys can do the framing modifications to those to make it look like a Ford Mustang seat or a Dodge Charger or Challenger seat, whatever application we want to apply it to. It's just kind of our go-to seat. So again, the plan is to make both these cars look exactly like the movie cars from Bullitt, and we're going to have some fun with this. The next plan moving forward is the Mustang's going to need several more days and possibly weeks of prepping the body for paint. This Charger, once the rear floor is addressed, it's going to run over to the paint shop. Joe's going to do final prep work on it. It's going into paint. Then we have to install the vinyl top and all the moldings and start putting this car back together. The Mustang will be following right behind it. So lots of things going on. As you can see from all the cars covered in the background, we have lots of projects. That's going to be pretty much a wrap on our update. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned. More stuff to follow.